Hello everybody, my name is Xander and you're watching Xander Does Finance. Now, recently, as many of you who watched my last video will know, I've moved away to start the next stage of my life and, well, now I'm actually here. Halfway across the country from where I've lived for so many years, and now I'm actually doing accounting and finance, so now I can officially say that I'm Xander Does Finance. Got a little space to myself, a place to call home if you like, and plenty more time to focus on working, making videos, and building my wealth. And I guess really that's the focus of today's video. Between working out at the gym to lose a bit of weight, attempting to score as high of a mark on this degree as possible, and making new friends, what are some of my other goals, mainly my financial goals, during my time here for study? Well, as I said last time, I reached my metal stacking goal of 100 ounces of silver and 1 ounce of gold. And since reaching that goal, I guess I've been evaluating my entire portfolio, trying to decide how I want it to look in the future, and how best to turn these ideas into videos which are both entertaining and informative. And with that, I constructed this. And this is my entire portfolio. All my metals, my stocks, my funds, currency, all across all my investment accounts. And I do love being able to see all this stuff at once, on one relatively simple chart, and it's truly amazing what you can achieve in an hour on Excel these days. Now, obviously these stats will be changing every single day, with prices fluctuating all the time, but the important part of all this for me is the balance. Really being able to observe all my positions on one big chart allows me to assess what I like and dislike and what I think I can change for the better in the future. I also made this version, which shows the overall balance of each investment vehicle within my portfolio. I particularly like this chart because I can see exactly what my portfolio is best geared towards, and thus I can roughly predict the direction of movement, knowing the general long-term trajectory of the market. Coming out of the pandemic, that will hopefully be a general upward trend. Obviously we can't say this for sure because there are so many pricing factors at play that the markets are almost random at times. But it's not a bad assumption to make in my opinion, unless of course we get another COVID, Brexit or housing crisis, then this should be the case. Oh no. So anyways, after whipping up these charts, I did some thinking about what I wanted to change. First of all, this is way too much metals exposure for my liking. Firstly because they aren't even a very profitable asset to own in my opinion. It appears as though they mainly serve as protection from inflation, so if one's currency devalues, their wealth is protected. Does this mean I'm no longer interested? No, of course not. They're still an important part of my portfolio. But I just wanted to have a greater proportion of other assets to maximise my potential growth while taking an acceptable amount of risk, rather than overexposing myself to any particular asset. So, with those thoughts in mind, I created this. And this is what I think my ideal portfolio balance would look like. Let me quickly run through this with you guys real quick and just share my thought process. So, starting off at the top, we have 15% metals. This was a tricky one. I was kind of stuck between 10 and 15%, honestly. I feel like this is a reasonable amount. Should we have another economic crash in the next decade, these assets should do alright. But I don't want to overexpose myself like I currently am, and or miss out on potential gains I could be making elsewhere. Speaking of, funds are one of the safer forms of investment, alongside bonds. But unlike most bonds, you can actually make a real income from funds. Not just a 2% gross income that's immediately cancelled out by inflation and fees. Now I know. You can obviously make income from some bonds, just as you can lose all your money from some funds. But generally, those bonds which carry the smallest level of risk also carry essentially zero reward. And that's why I'm choosing to allocate large proportions of my portfolio to funds, as it for me represents a safer way to make strong growth or income. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to break this down yet. Naturally, once I've achieved this balance, I may choose to adjust it or keep growing in the same proportions. But for now, I'll probably target growth funds, as in my opinion, income funds are way less profitable unless you have a lot of money to invest, which, spoiler, as a student, I really don't. That's not to say I'll never invest in income funds, nor bonds, or shares for that fact. Oh wait, here we go again. Shares are the fun bit of investing for me, picking a great company that I'd love to see thrive and succeed and showing my support by buying shares. At the moment I don't really have many stock positions as the cost to buy these shares is proportionally quite high. However, as this fee is regressive, i.e. it becomes less proportional as you invest more, I can certainly see myself investing more heavily in shares once I have access to more cash, I think I'll probably pick £1,000 or £2,000 positions, meaning that the 10 to £150 dealing fee is essentially 1% or less. This means I can take more profit more quickly if my picks do well. I do intend to hold most of these positions for at least 5 years or so, but naturally if one surges 20% in a month, I'm not going to hesitate to sell, take profit and start a new position elsewhere. I suppose it's all about risk really, which does bring me on to... Now, crypto has been something which I've had my mind changed on multiple times, with leaders of multi-billion-pound financial institutions saying that they're disinterested in it or they wouldn't choose to become a crypto investor. It's probably unwise to put any money on the line here that I wouldn't be dissatisfied losing. For that reason, crypto will hopefully form a small but well-performing part of my portfolio at around 5%. I think this is the highest risk tolerance that I would be willing to accept, especially if the vast majority, if not all of that money, could be wiped out in a matter of hours or days. I don't really have much else to say on cryptocurrency at the moment, nor do I know which coins are best to buy right now, or what's going to be popular over the next 5 to 10 years, or if the market will even exist in 5 to 10 years. Maybe I'll buy some big coins like Ethereum or Bitcoin, or one of its competitors, or just stick with whatever the top 5 coins are with £1,000 in each. Plus with staking, I can at least gain dividend-like interest on what I'm holding, which will help limit losses in the long run should that be the case. But I guess there's one thing that truly depends on, one thing that truly holds all this together. Cash is important, like really important. Not just for buying all the essentials like bread, milk, and endless packets of cookies to get me through the day, but also other things like preventing me from defaulting on a mortgage or rent, paying an unexpected bill, or making the most of an investment opportunity, having the freedom to buy at the correct level without having to liquidate another asset to do so. This is why, at least for now, I'm planning to try and have at least 10% of my portfolio in cash. So, should something really bad happen, I'll be able to afford to dig myself out. Does this mean I'll miss out on potential gains? Perhaps, but that's better in my opinion than having to sell a bunch of great positions to pay off this month's rent or watch the price of a stock I've been eyeing dip for a day and not being able to buy the dip because I have no money in hand. But maybe there's a shortage of something else, and that's time. I'm sure at least one of you is wondering how long this is going to take, and to be honest, I'm not entirely sure at this stage. Given that I don't want to sell any of my current assets, I'll need to increase my stake in funds by at least 100%, and shares, well, it's fair to say I'd like to open a few more positions. But I'm confident once I get a job sorted out up here while I'm at uni, I'll be able to start putting some money aside again. And that should over the next 5 years or so increase my stakes such that my total portfolio balance is where I want it to be. However, other factors such as me wanting to buy a house could easily put a dent in this balance, and that will certainly become a point where I will need more heavy analysis to work out what my long-term goals really are. And that's not to say this new plan I've drafted will not be under constant review either. It sort of all depends on what I'm doing, what I'm learning, and how I'm feeling about the continuity of different financial positions. So yeah, that's about it really. I just thought I'd make a little video to inform you all on what I'm planning. Do let me know what you think. I'd love to get some more ideas so that I can refine this further going forward. I've also got a lot more videos in the pipeline now because I'm not really doing too much outside of my studies. I've got very close to getting a part-time job, and that'll form a lot of my spare time, but outside of study there's not too much going on, so I've got a few ideas floating around, and I'm going to be trying to make videos a little bit more regularly. For now though, my name is Xander, and you've been watching Xander Does Finance. All the best to you all, thanks for watching, bye!